Hi guys, it's Debbie. I just finished watching The Holdovers and I can't wait to dive into why oftentimes comedic roles are the toughest to nail, and when they do hit the mark, they capture our hearts. Remember Barbie this year? A lot to say about that movie, both good and bad, but let's agree on one thing. Ryan Gosling's character of Ken won't be forgotten soon.
But I'm a man.
But not a doctor.
Can I talk to a doctor?
You are talking to a doctor.
I need a clicky pen?
No.
So as I was mentioning, I just watched The Holdovers, a film that generated a lot of excitement. Naturally, I had to give it a watch, and honestly, it's currently ranking as one of my top favourites of this year. Set in 1970, the story revolves around a grumpy teacher in a boarding school assigned to supervise a small group of students stranded during the Christmas break. Each student has unique reasons to not be able to go home, reasons that unfold during the break, just as the teacher's own peculiar, intriguing background. Paul Giamatti portrays the teacher, delivering what I personally believe is one of the most powerful performances of the year, while Cillian Murphy shined in Oppenheimer and Franz Rogowski brought tears in Passage. Giamatti's portrayal was utterly captivating.
I'm supposed to go to Cornell. Unlikely.
His comedic timing had me in stitches, his emotional depth had me in tears, and his creation of a finely nuanced character was so fascinating that I'd eagerly watch a whole standalone movie just about his character's background.
Oh, no, I was praying to the God I don't even believe in that your mother would pick up the phone or your father would arrive in a helicopter or a submarine or a flying fucking saucer.
However, the teacher isn't just your typical grumpy old guy. For example, he really respects history and passionately believes that learning about our past is crucial to understanding humanity. He keeps to himself, but actually cares a lot about people. Even in small moments like a quick handshake, you can see how complicated he is and what he's been through in the movie. Mastering such a role requires a deep, nuanced understanding of humanity, as well as perfect comedic timing. Sometimes it's as subtle as a fleeting smile, a handshake, or a glance. It's not about mimicking an exaggerated version of just a universal experience such as a bodily function gone wrong. This is why films like The Banshees of Inisherin worked so well. It took a simple premise of I don't want to be your friend anymore, and within an hour I had us emotionally engaged, laughing and crying over a man's reluctance to part with his donkey, even if it means having it in his living room. But again and again, despite the acclaim these films receive, they often then get dismissed as just another comedy. Similar to horror, comedy films often get relegated to an inferior status compared to genres like drama or thriller, which tend to be considered the best. This bias occurs because dramatic scenes where people express emotions like crying or burning with anger tend to be more relatable, but nailing a comedic role, that's challenging. Take Ryan Gosling's Ken in Barbie. Before this film was released, there was a general wariness that this film would have just tried to push a vague feminist agenda without an interesting plot. Yet it pleasantly surprised many, with Gosling's Ken standing out. His portrayal was hilarious, capturing the way Ken takes his role seriously while not fully comprehending it. His wild character arc going from feeling inadequate to aspiring to lead the world with horses and the other Kens, then back to more breakdowns, was a testament to his performance. To win over such a large audience, he really had to put an effort into this, and he didn't just have to cry. Hear me out a moment. I've noticed that I sometimes get upset or emotional with a movie due to imitation. Take Marriage Story, for instance. There's that famous scene with Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson in which they're shedding tears and literally punching holes in walls.
I can't believe I have to know you forever!
Oh, you're fucking insane!
But as I revisited it and watched various other films, I've begun to question whether I was genuinely touched by that scene itself, or whether I was just going with the flow and just reacting to the scene, mimicking it. If I was just automatically reflecting the actor's emotions, I don't know, maybe I'm going insane and this doesn't make any sense. Anyway, my point is that perfectly nailing a comedic role with an intriguing plot without solely relying on slapstick comedy or just evergreen jokes that will resonate with everybody is far more challenging. Consider recent films like Joyride or Mafia Mamma. They're entertaining because they tap into physical comedy, stereotypes, accidents, bodily functions, and other familiar comedic elements. We laugh at them, but these films will rarely have a long-lasting impact. Will we really still be laughing at a naked Jennifer Lawrence fist-fighting with teenagers on a beach in 10 years' time?
Suck my balls!
I doubt it. But consider films like The Holdovers, Rye Lane, Funny Pages, Sick of Myself. They transcend mere physical humor and build intricate, expansive worlds.
And who is Dr. Gertler?
My shrink.
Has Dr. Gertler ever tried a good swift kick in the ass?
Take Triangle of Sadness, one of the rare instances in which the Oscars recognized comedy. Sure, it contains physical comedy, even explosive diarrhea, but it's the characters' conflicts over a selfie or the unexpected way of eating the rich that makes us love them. Actors like Dolly Leon don't merely make us laugh through embarrassing moments or accidents, they redefine our expectations with their characters' unexpected complexities.
This is really, really bad.
On the Count of Three, one of my favorite films from last year, delves into topics as dark as people making a suicide pact. It's deeply, painfully bleak, yet it manages to mix in moments of humor. It's a testament to the challenge of creating good, dark comedy. It's not just about shocking someone with a grim joke. Comedian Stavros Halkias recently advocated that no topic should be off limits with comedy. But when it comes to dark humor, it has to be handled skillfully. It's not about aiming at a cheap laugh through shock value at the expense of the audience's comfort. That's why comedies like The Bubble and Snatched didn't quite hit the mark, whereas films like Four Lions succeeded despite its very risky premise of four wannabe terrorists. This year, they somehow even pulled off a comedic black and white vampire Pinochet story in El Conde, a person I knew barely anything about beforehand. On the other hand, a narrative like Lena Dunham's Sharp Stick, which on paper seemed like it should have worked, a tale about a peculiar girl and her sexual journey, miserably failed. There have been quite a few interesting comedies released lately that are worth checking out. For instance, Rye Lane brings together two strangers who, having faced separate personal challenges, cross paths and spend a day delving into their peculiar backgrounds. Sick of Myself and Dream Scenario, both by Christoph Borgli, delve into fame and vanity from very distinct angles. Last year's Funny Pages offers a refreshing take on comedy, portraying realistic conversations among actors who finally look like real people and not just an Instagram filter. Rotten in the Sun takes audiences on an unexpected journey, starting with depression, moving on to nudist beaches in Mexico, ended up in a completely unpredictable manner. Then there's Polite Society, where a teenager believes she must rescue her older sister from an impending marriage. She sets up a crazy wedding heist with her friends. So there are a lot of interesting new titles out there, and who knows, maybe it's time that well-crafted comedy gets its due and not just its status of a cheap laugh. Look at some of the most popular films of the last months, beside the ones I mentioned earlier. Films like Bottoms, The Menu, Asteroid City, Beau is Afraid, Dumb Money, Bullet Train. If The Holdover scores big at this year's Film Awards season, it could mark a major turning point in the film industry. But what do you think about all of this? Do you agree? What are some of your favorite comedy films to watch? Let me know everything in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.